Since I'm off mute, my name is Trudi Hope. I'm one of the assistant directors here at the university. I oversee the graduate academic success counselors or advising team, as many of you will get to know that team. Your primary advisor, Sabrina, I just was mentioning, congratulations to her. She coaches a local high school soccer team as well, and they are in the playoffs, and she had a last minute game that she had to tend to. So I'm here and I'm hoping to be able to work with you throughout your degree. While I won't be your primary point of contact, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for taking the time to be here and learn more about the program, and for joining us not only this evening, but throughout the program. Our goal in academic advising is to be a strong support for you as part of your overall enrollment team and ensure that any questions or anything that you might need, that we're here for you. So welcome again, and I look forward to working with all of you.
I'll introduce myself briefly. I'm Denise Holt. In graduate admissions, I'm the team lead in graduate admissions. So some of you probably have seen my name as we worked toward getting you admitted into the program and registered. At this point, usually admissions kind of stands back and advisement and your professor and program chairs and so forth take over, but we are always around. We're, for many of you, like your first contact with the university. So we always want to hear from our students, and we're always available and rooting you on. And if you ever need any, of your admissions advisors, please always feel free to come to us. If we don't know the answer, we'll happily connect you with whoever you need to talk to. Thank you.
If the students could go around and just introduce yourself very quickly so we have a sense of who you are, and perhaps you can share where you're from and any other information that you want to introduce at this time. So Sharon, you have your hand up, so you're the brave first soul here. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are?
I'm interested in the online teaching, so that's why I was attracted to the post-university certificate program. I've worked in social work for past 25 years, child protective services, and I'm looking to use my master's degree in educational leadership to do some online teaching to kind of end my career working with the higher education student.
Very good. Welcome, and delighted to have you in the program. That you're bringing a perspective. One of the great things about our program is, and I think you'll find this out, is that in any class we have a nice mix, a very diverse population of students, meaning some are K-12 educators, some are higher educators, or people who aspire to work in higher ed. Some are people who have completed one career and are starting their second career.
Right.
And we have other people who come to us from the business community. So the opportunity is for rich discussion and exchange of ideas that doesn't just limit you to the area that you're currently thinking of. So it's exciting to have you join us, Sharon, and I'm sure you're going to bring many, many wonderful experiences to play in terms of your interaction with your peers.
Good evening, all. My name is Paula Estrada. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a single mom of 5, 2 sons, 19 and 15, 3 daughters, 14, 9, and 5. I've been a teacher for 4 years in a private learning center with children of ages 2 to 3. January, I started as a substitute teacher in a public school, teaching ICT second grade. This year, I'm teaching general ed kindergarten. I joined this school because I want to earn my master's. To be honest, I'm tired of being a substitute. I want my own classroom. I'm hungry for my own classroom, so I need my master's in order to do that.
Very good. Welcome, Paula, and thank you for your introduction. Suzanne, I'm looking right at you, so I guess you're up next.
I'm up next. Yes, I'm Suzanne Morgera. I am from Stamford, Connecticut, and I'm kind of late in my career, probably the grandma of the group here. But I am fulfilling a lifelong dream of getting my master's in education. I have worked in everything from preschool up to second grade. And then I took a step back and worked with my husband in his business. And now that he's getting close to retiring, I'm going to get my master's, and I still have a good 10 more years in me to work. So I'm going to go back to school.
There's plenty to be done, so welcome aboard. And again, as I mentioned earlier, as I listened to the three of you introduce yourselves, you bring a rich and varied background of experiences, professional experiences that really relate to education and leadership, because you can't have been at what you've been at for that long and not have learned a little bit about leadership and had taken on that responsibility in some way, shape, or form over the course of time. So you're in a good place, and we're delighted to have you. And I think you've made the right choice to come to Post. You're gonna meet some very dedicated professionals along the way who will be your instructors, as well as other people who work at Post, like Trudi and Denise and Sabrina, who is your ASC. And you're going to find that you have a team of people who are rooting for you and there to be of help to you. So thank you for taking some time to introduce yourself. Did I get everybody? I don't want to miss anybody. So if somebody's hanging out there, feel free to jump in. So we've done the introduction piece, and if you're looking at this slide and overview, what we want to do is really tell you a little bit about ourselves. We want to outline our program for you. You've probably heard it or seen it on different occasions, but maybe add a few little bits and pieces to help give you a little bit more clarity around your program experience and how it shapes up for you in either of the MSHEL or the MED program. We're going to give you one of the slides that we really look forward to sharing with students is our helpful hints slide. And it gives you a little bit of an insight on not only what you need to do, but also how to get out ahead of the pack and really set yourself in play to really be completely successful in your coursework, in your classes. So we have a few hints there we'll share with you. We'll talk about additional opportunities for you to grow as you learn with your peers in the courses that you're enrolled in over the coming months. And then introduce some areas of support that are readily available, made available to you by the university at no additional cost, that can be support services for graduate level students. So sometimes graduate level students step into a program in a university and they feel, I'm on my own. Everybody expects me to know everything there is to know. Well, that's not the case at Post. We provide resources and we encourage our students to take advantage of them when and as you move through the program and feel there may be a need. And then we'll set aside some time at the end for any questions that you may have. Okay. So we've done the introduction. Appreciate the time you took to introduce yourselves to us. So we want to move to the next slide. I hope you can see this. It says Introduction to Program Chairs. Everybody seeing that slide?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I will go first since I'm the first name on this to the left of this slide. And as I introduced myself at the beginning, there's some information there that you may find helpful. First of all, there's my email address at Post. And while you have an academic success counselor and you have your instructor, I want you to know who I am as the program chair, because sometimes it may be just you want to spend a few minutes chatting with the person who has oversight for the entire program. It might be a question that relates to where you see yourself going after you earn your degree. And so I want to give you a little bit of background on my own professional experiences as an educator and let that serve to give you a little bit of an inkling as to, okay, so how can this guy be of help to me along the way? So I started out my professional education career as a secondary level teacher. And over the course of time, more years than I'm willing to admit right to you right now this evening, I served in the capacity of a teacher at the secondary level and at the middle level. I went on to become assistant principal of a middle school, served in that role for a number of years, and then moved into the leadership role of a building level principal at a middle school. I started, as I mentioned, as a secondary level teacher, and my first concerns when I moved to the middle level were certainly, will I be able to do it? After all, I thought of myself as a secondary level instructor, a high school teacher. And I learned over the course of time, not only was I able to do it, but I grew to love my experiences as a middle level educator, and often point to those years as some of my best and most personally rewarding years. I've enjoyed every day I've spent in schools over the course of my full professional career. But the time with middle school and middle school students taught me a lot and gave me a great opportunity to feel what was very important work to be accomplished. Um, Ultimately, as they say, no good deed goes unpunished. I stepped into the role of central office administrator, where I served as a assistant superintendent and then completed or closed out my career with 9 years as a superintendent of a middle school in Connecticut here in, excuse me, a superintendent of a school district here in Connecticut. Over the course of my K-12 experiences, I served in 3 different school districts with varied populations of students and some wonderful staff who supported me along the way. When I finished that portion of my professional life, I went on to become a department chair at Southern Connecticut State University. And in that role, I served as the coordinator of the program for educational leadership and policy studies. We have a doctoral program there that I worked in, helped to organize and get going, as well as advanced graduate degrees for educators in the K-12 setting, and who were aspiring to be principals and school administrators. And then 5 years ago, I came to Post, always feeling there's another opportunity to continue to grow. And while I knew some things about online teaching and learning, I thought this was an opportunity in this position to really continue to develop my competencies and my skills and continue to grow as an educator. And so over the course of the last 5 years, I've served as chair of the Master's in Education program here at Post. As part of that role, I also teach a course. So some of you may encounter me in one of your classes along the way during the time that you're here at Post. And I would certainly look forward to knowing you outside of the classroom, but also knowing you in a classroom role as instructor and working with you as a student. Andrew, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Madonia. And as Dr. Madonia stated, the reason why we wanted to share a little bit of our professional background with you all is to further introduce our experience and see if there's any way we might be able to assist you throughout your academic journey. Although most of you are enrolled in Dr. Madonia's program, some of my experience may relate to any ideas or research you might be interested in down the road. So please feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. But again, same as Dr. Madonia, my email is at the very top of my section of the slide. So it's andrsmith@post.edu. So the very beginning of my professional career in higher education actually started as an intern in the Academic Advisement Center at Southern Connecticut State University, which is a medium-sized institution in the state of Connecticut, approximately 10,000 students. And I started working with undergraduate students, specifically students transferring from community colleges to the institution to pursue 4-year degrees. I did that role for about 3 years while working on my master's in business administration. When I finished my MBA, I was accepted into the doctorate in educational leadership degree at Southern Connecticut State University. and I segued into an assistant director for the School of Graduate and Professional Studies position, which I served in that role for approximately 6 years while I was working on my doctorate. And in the capacity of that role, I oversaw a series of different areas pertaining to policy review as well as policy creation for graduate students. I oversaw the entire recruitment and retention initiative for the graduate school. I also oversaw the management and had direct oversight of the department and clerical staff, as well as student workers and university assistants. And I assisted in the development and review of academic programs, specifically at the graduate level. However, when I finished my doctorate, I felt that it was a great opportunity for me to start looking to go into what my passion was working more directly with students and their academic progression. And I saw this position at Post University, and I had applied for it, and I was offered the position to oversee the Master of Science in Higher Education Leadership. And I've been in this role approximately 3 years now. I think this past September was my 3-year anniversary. It's been an excellent experience. I've been able to meet with and work with a variety of different individuals from a variety of different backgrounds all across the world. And I've been able to see so many of our students go on to do excellent things. So again, this is just a brief overview of sort of how I got to where I am. And again, if anybody, if I can be of any assistance to anybody at any point in your program, please feel free to reach out. And as a little quick story, when I was at Southern pursuing my degree, Dr. Peter Madonia was actually my dissertation sponsor. So, and then once I finished and I transferred over here, I saw Dr. Peter Madonia again, and now we actually have our cubicles next to each other in the same building.
I can't get away from you, Andrew.
Can't escape.
Actually, it's interesting how just as an aside, it's interesting how we have forged a relationship that stretches well beyond the student and teacher or student and professor roles, and it's a manifestation of my love of being in contact with my students, not just while they're in a class, but also to support them afterwards. I know over the course of time, I've really gotten to know many students. Some of them are in touch with me periodically. Some are in touch base with me on a more regular basis. But the nature of our relationship is really giving them whatever I can to help support them in their work and their aspirations for being professional educators. So that offer extends to you also, and I hope over time I'll get to know you in the same capacities. Okay, we'd like to now talk a little bit or very briefly take you through our 2 programs just to give you a quick update, if you will. So the MED program is a 30 credit program leading to the Master's in Education degree. We have 12 credits that are core courses, as you probably are aware. And those are courses that everybody takes regardless of any of the concentrations that you see listed under the 15 credits that we label as concentrations in curriculum or instruction, ed technology, learning design and technology, online teaching, and TESOL or TEL. TESOL is the teaching English speakers of other languages, and TEL is an offshoot of that concentration that allows professional educators who may be seeing an increase of non-primary English speaking students in their classes and are looking for a little bit of coursework to really ground them in their development of instruction and how they deliver it and how they interface the content for the students who otherwise would not be speakers of English and as a primary language. So there are 12 credits that are core courses. There are 15 credits in one of those concentrations. I'm pretty sure most of you have given some thought to which concentration area you're interested in. each one has a focus that really helps support the aspirations that you may have for working in the field. So for instance, curriculum instruction, very much as it sounds, is focused on the classroom learning portion of the program. So if you aspire to work in a school, regardless of the level, and your focus and your energy wants to go into learning and exploring how to create exciting and engaging learning environments for your students, then that would be very logically one of the concentrations you might want to consider. And so forth, with educational technology being a focus on incorporating to a larger degree educational technology applications, skills, strategies to enhance a standard or a hybrid class situation. So if you're teaching in a standard school setting, or you are teaching in a university that is not totally online university, then you'd learn a lot about how to integrate technology into your teaching to excite and hopefully advance the learning opportunities of your students. If you're teaching in a totally, or you aspire to teach in a totally online institution like Post, there again, educational technology could conceivably be a very strong concentration for you to take into consideration. Learning design and technology really has as its focus the creation of courses almost from the ground up, or the redevelopment of courses to better meet the growing place of technology in the classroom and in the instructional environment. And online teaching is is the fourth concentration that you see there, where you may already be in an online learning environment other than the one you're participating in, but you may be working in one, or you may be in business looking around ways to integrate online learning opportunities, perhaps through professional development for the staff in that company. And there again would be the courses that would conceivably stand you in good stead to be able to do that, to understand it, master it, and be able to integrate those ideas into your professional work setting. You probably already have identified your concentration area, but if along the way you want to talk about what one concentration has to offer over another, I'm happy to speak with you, or certainly Sabrina Pisani, your ASC, could spend that time with you also. So you have at least two of us, if not more, who are ready and poised to be able to help you understand that. I emphasize that because a lot of times students get into the program and they say, well, I know I signed up for a concentration, but I'm wondering whether I'm in the right one. And so there's an opportunity there for you to know there are people here at Post who are happy to talk about that with you, particularly now as you're at the start of your program. Andrew?
Well, thank you, Peter. And if we can just go to the next slide.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you. So just as a quick overview of the MSHEL degree as well as the certificate, looking at the MSHEL, we see it's almost the same amount of credits as our Master's in Education. We're just one course more, we're at 33 credits. All of our students, when they first start in the program, they start in our core section. And with our core section, we try to provide an overarching introduction to higher education. So we provide them with a trends course that sort of has a blend of the history of higher education and how it started in society and how it has evolved to where it is today. And then based on current societal trends, how it will continue to evolve and how we have to adapt as future leaders to such areas of evolution. We also talk about the post-secondary student. What is the post-secondary student today? What were they in the past? Based again on trends in society, what will they be in the future and how do we need to prepare? So those concepts we begin to introduce in the core section of the program. Afterwards, students will then transition into one of two concentrations, the first being administrative leadership and the second being student affairs. For our students who are interested more in the leadership aspect of the institution, whether they want to lead a department, a school, or ultimately a college or university, we try to place emphasis on leadership theory as well as applied learning approaches around all of our assignments. So students, when they look and assess organizations in their assignments, will also be able to directly apply what they're learning, not only to the assignment, but we make them also introduce what and how they've applied this in their current work environment. So in some emphasis, we're trying to get them prepared based on what they're currently doing, what they're learning, and how they can utilize that moving forward. The other option is our student affairs concentration. And this is for individuals who are interested in looking at student populations and the resources and the support and the overall community at a post-secondary institution. And as higher education continues to evolve, a few examples of the acceptance of technology and how that might alter a community in higher education versus on a on-ground institution. Concepts like that are introduced and discussed, and we prepare for higher education based on those concepts. And then all of our students, once they complete their core and their concentration, they segue into a capstone experience. Right now, we have it as a 9-credit capstone experience. It's 3 courses. We are currently reducing that down to a 1 course or 3-credit capstone experience. So that's going to be further down the road. But as of right now, this is an opportunity for students to take what they've learned in their core and concentration and develop some sort of research study based on preliminary research they've identified, research around different methodologies they can use to address a problem that they've identified in their research, and then discuss conclusions as well as recommendations for additional research. So ultimately, that's the master's degree. And then we do have a certificate. It's a 4-course or 12-credit certificate, and we try to place an emphasis on this certificate, similar to our core section, where we provide a brief overview of higher education based on administrative factors, trends, the student, the academic environment. So all of these contributors to the post-secondary experience in the present and future tense are embedded within that certificate. And for individuals who might still be on the fence of investing fully in a master's degree, we always recommend that they maybe start out with the certificate, get their feet wet with the subject, and then if they're interested, they can segue into the master's degree upon conferment of the certificate. But ultimately, that's just a quick rundown of both of the programs within my oversight. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out in the future.
So I want to just take a moment here, Andrew, because somebody, I think, put a question in there about, does every concentration lead to a certificate? So yes, every concentration is considered a certificate in that area of study. However, we want to be careful that we don't inform you that a certificate is not a license to practice or teach in a state. Each state has its own individual requirements, mostly established to ensure that the state is monitoring which institutions are licensed to prepare, in this instance, let's say, educators to be certified teachers. So be careful that you don't misunderstand that a certificate for completing the course does certify you to be licensed to work in a public school setting, for instance, in Connecticut. If you're not in Connecticut and you're looking at the opportunity to teach, the only way you can tell whether or not the courses you're taking would be appropriate is for you to contact the teacher certification bureau in that state, and they would advise you what courses you need to take or what courses would be acceptable for licensing in that state. One of the things we've learned along the way is that with 50 states, each one has its own education bureau for K-12 teaching, and each state has its own laws and regulations related to what they require for a teacher. So it's almost impossible to be on top of all of those requirements. And so the advice I offer to you is just to make sure that you have thought carefully about where you're going and what you want to do, and that you've checked what route is best for you. Okay, this is one of my favorite slides, so we're going to take a couple moments here to really just work you through it. When you're in the program, in the MED program and the MSHEL, you'll notice that every week you have a discussion board, and then over the course of 2 to 3 week blocks, you're usually working on a major assignment that ultimately gets submitted. So you might have a piece of a major assignment every week and a discussion board. Discussion boards are really a great opportunity for you because they are equivalent to a conversation taking place in a ground-based classroom, where you would be sitting there as a student in a room with other students, and you have the opportunity to talk about the content. It would be the instructor asking, tonight, let's talk about, give you a topic, and then look for students to weigh in with what they've learned from either the reading that they might have done in preparation for that class, or their experiences in terms of the content in their professional setting, or they're just thinking out loud and reflecting on what that content has for purposes of their own professional success, what meaning that content has. Discussion boards are pretty easy to engage in. They're structured so that usually you're asked to do an initial post in the discussion board that really reflects, excuse me, on your synthesis of the content. Your synthesis of the content and the reading that you've done for that class. Then after that, you are asked over the course of the remaining days in the week to do 3 additional posts. So, and the discussion board grading is 10 points a week. So for participation and for an exchange of ideas, you really earn usually 20% of the total grade for the course for the term. So it's a great way to engage in understanding the content, ask questions, reflect on what you're learning, comment on the ideas that your classmates have put up, and do that in relatively through 4 posts over the course of the week. And one of the things we encourage students to do is not to treat that lightly, because it's points that are easily gained or points that are easily lost if you don't do that. So it's a very important area of your participation in the course, and it's an opportunity to really engage and hear from your classmates. Assignment, Andrew, you want to talk about the assignment piece?
Sure. And just to wrap up the discussion board area, one recommendation, I know Peter has briefly touched on it. One recommendation I always have with my students is, as soon as you start every single course each term, take a look at your discussion board rubric in the course information section. Each course may have different reply requirements. Some courses, I know in my program, you only have to reply to 2 students. Sometimes you have to reply to 3. So again, I just wanted to, place additional emphasis on that. That each course, all the courses don't necessarily have the same discussion board requirements going through the program. But looking at the assignments, a few areas of recommendation, we wanted to just briefly go over with you with this area. So with each of the assignments in our programs, we have an emphasis on applied learning, meaning that we not only want you to learn about the theory or the concept or the approach, but we want you to directly apply it within the assignment. And I sort of touched base on it, when I was doing an overview of my program, where we want you to not only apply it within the assignment, but also, if you can, relate it to your work environment. And maybe you've used that assignment or that approach or that theory within your work setting, even if you're not in an education setting at this time. Have you seen that type of approach utilized? And that's what we'd like to do within our programs, to try to help you professionally as well as academically. So as you go through your courses and you read through your assignments and what you have to do, that's a major area that we just want to place emphasis on. And we look forward to reading all of these assignments and what you're able to draft up and submit to all of us. In addition to that, one area of recommendation within all of your assignments and projects, we have all of these broken down usually in a PDF attachment that you can download to your desktop. My recommendation with that is to either print that out and check off each requirement as you go through to ensure you meet it, or as you have it in a document, paste it in a Word document, slowly highlight each area of that assignment to make sure you're meeting that portion. So when you submit it, you'll be able to receive full credit for that assignment. The last few areas that we wanted to go over with you as well with this slide are APA 7 formatting as well as Grammarly. So APA 7 is the current formatting for our assignments, projects, and overall submissions in both programs. We have a series of resources available for you all if you have any questions on APA 7. And how to format your submissions, resources, references, the body of your work, anything in general. And if you have any questions directly before you submit an assignment, you're more than welcome to reach out to your instructor or Peter or myself just to go over this to see if you're submitting everything in compliance with this type of formatting. And then lastly, we do have a program here called Grammarly, and I'm not sure if you all might have heard of this before, but it's an excellent grammatical correction program and sentence restructuring program, ultimately almost similar to a spell check. And it's free for all of you as students. And not only is it free, but you also have access to their premium plan as well. So you get an above the basic plan free as a post-university student, and we have instructions on how you can download that to your desktop, and it syncs with your Microsoft Word, your emails, your discussion boards, all assignments and aspects of your computer. So it's a great resource. If you haven't downloaded it already, please feel free to do so. And when you do sign up for that, if you haven't done so already, make sure to enter your post-university email address, because that's how you would get the premium access and the premium plan when you download Grammarly. And again, we do have steps on how you can download that if you need some assistance. So please feel free to reach out to either Peter or myself. We're more than happy to share that with you.
Great. Grammarly is terrific. I can't tell you how many times I've used Grammarly to correct or catch myself, even with typos, where you'll get a light red underline that tells you that the word is misspelled if you haven't used Grammarly. And it's a great way to proofread and move through with a little bit more support than just planning or counting on the fact that you're going to see that incorrect words or spellings or typos without any additional support or assistance. Opportunities to grow. Andrew, you want to talk about micro-credentials?
Sure. Great. So as we've continued to develop and improve on the academic and professional opportunities within both the MED and the MSHEL programs, one area that we really looked into and we're very proud to have implemented in both programs is the opportunity for students to enroll and take micro-credentials. And the first thing I want to touch base on is what necessarily is a micro-credential. We might have heard of them before, or it might be a new term to us, but essentially, they're short competency-based recognition courses that individuals can take. And there's a variety of these micro-credential courses that students can take beyond their course that they're enrolled in that particular term. And what it does is it helps customize and tailor your academic experience to a more refined and specific area of expertise that you can utilize in your professional growth. And what we've done is we've established a partnership with the National Education Association, or the NEA, which is one of the largest education organizations in the world. At last count, it was at almost 3 million members. And we were granted permission to offer their micro-credential courses within our programs. So as you progress through your courses in the MED program, you'll see certain courses where this opportunity is embedded for you. And again, these are competency-based. They're very short. I don't think NEAs are more than 15 hours at most for their micro-credentials. But it's an excellent opportunity for you to continue to grow academically as well as professionally. And like I said, refine that area of expertise that you're trying to move into with your professional career. So I don't know, Peter, I don't know if you might recall where they are embedded in the MED.
Yeah, there's a link and directions in the course, selected courses that you will take, one in each concentration area and one in the core courses. So you'll see that as an announcement at the start of the course. But if you're looking for more information and you wanted to talk about what's available to you, by all means, just shoot me an email and I'm happy to send you the link information so you can go there independently when your schedule permits and explore what the NEA program is about and how you might find a content area that you'd like to do a micro-credential experience in. The growing popularity of micro-credentials is for what Andrew emphasized. It's a short course, usually 15 hours or so in maximum duration, that exposes you in a concerted way to some aspect of professional practice that you're engaged in. Culturally based instruction, for instance. Well, we've all had some interaction in that area, but the NEA micro-credentials can give you a concerted, short-term, updated experience on how to utilize your understanding of culturally based instruction in the preparation and the delivery of classes that you currently are engaged in working in. Not as a professional educator. So there's a range of literally well over 100 of options. Those kinds of skill experiences really allow you to enrich your transcript, your resume, your CV, when you're looking for employment and you're looking for jobs, because you can say you've had these many learning experiences in addition to earning your master's degree. Micro-credentials are not required. It's just our way of providing an additional opportunity for you to maximize your learning as you are a student at Post. The other area that we want to talk about in terms of opportunities to grow is one that's really very, very exciting. Andrew and I, about 2 years ago, went through an extensive research process and interaction with several universities that we felt had the potential to offer a doctoral pathway for graduates of our programs. So if you're a graduate of either the MSHEL or the MED program, you have the added advantage of being able to transition into a doctoral study program at Aspen University. It's an agreement that Post University reached with Aspen University that allows students of our two programs to enter into their doctoral studies program and continue your learning. What the advantages are is that there is a very close similarity between Aspen's online learning program, teaching and learning program, for their graduate students and Post. So there's one major potential issue out of the way. You're not going to go to a different university. If you elect to do this, you would not go to a different university and have to start all over again learning how do they work with students. This is very comparable. Their online teaching is very comparable to ours. Secondly, is that their courses are structured over 8 weeks, just like the 8-week terms that you're experiencing in our program. The additional benefits that we negotiated with Aspen University were the transfer in of 9 credits of study that you had as a master's student at Post, which is ultimately translates into a tuition cost savings. They offer I believe it's a 10% tuition discount over the cost of the doctoral program at Aspen. So that's an added, if you will, benefit for post students who transition into their program. And the most intriguing piece of it is they have a 0% interest payment plan, which means you do not have to take out student loans if you choose not to. You may elect to pay, like a car payment, a monthly payment to the university, which covers your tuition costs. And so over the course of the 3 years or the 2 years that you'd be engaged in studies there, you're paying monthly. And when you're done earning your degree, you have paid on the basis of that pre-negotiated fee amount. You've paid your total tuition costs and you're loan free. You have no student loan. So occasionally you'll see from us information on this program. And while you're just starting the master's program and you may be sitting there saying, that's so far away or that's out of sight for me, or I'm not even thinking about that, we share that with you here because it's something that really is a great opportunity if you're considering doing studies after you complete your master's degree. Post gets nothing for this. So it's not like we're selling another program. It's just a great opportunity that we negotiated and put together for our students, and it's called the doctoral pathway. Okay, this section, we wanted to just make sure you're aware of the resources that are available to you as a student to support your learning over the course of the time you're in program. So the first name at the top is Sabrina Pisani's predecessor. So your ASC is Sabrina Pisani. She's your academic success counselor, and I'm sure you've had the opportunity to talk with her, but she's one of your best supporters, and Sabrina would be somebody who you'd want to really get to know and who you would be consulting with on a regular basis as you select courses each term, as you have questions that relate to your program or your activities or how you're doing, or if we have some concerns and we want to reach out to you and make sure that you're getting all the resource support you need. Sabrina is usually one of the key people who would reach out to you. One of the best little secrets that Sabrina would share with you if she was able to join us tonight is if you get locked out of Blackboard and you need to reset your password, then Sabrina can help expedite that for you without without you having to go through setting up or submitting a help desk ticket, if you will. So if you run into a password issue, the first person you need to reach out to, or that I would suggest you reach out to, is Sabrina. She has the shortcut to helping you try and restore your password or recover it. The second area we wanted to talk about is the Post Writing Center, and Sean Crouse is an exceptional individual. I've worked with him and with students on numerous occasions. He's a graduate writer focus. He has a graduate writing focus. And one of the things I think our students learn over the course of time is that you're always about developing your writing. So you may see yourself as one who I write pretty well, you might say. Well, so as you continue to grow in your master's program, we sort of raise the bar a little bit so that you can continue to write at the highest professional levels. Sometimes students run into a little difficulty around that. It may be an assignment in a course along the way. Well, Sean is positioned to be able to assign time with you, to work with you, and to ensure that you have that kind of help in terms of isolating skills that would help you better perfect your writing at the graduate level. And I want to tell you that sometimes we don't want to say that we need a little help or we could use a little help in that way. But we're always about improving our writing, and Post takes that seriously enough to be able to say, here's a service, here's an individual who can provide that level of support to our students at no additional cost. So that's very important for you to keep in mind. Information technology and Blackboard issues. Okay, so if you're running into a Blackboard issue, the first level of intervention is post IT. If they feel that this is a Blackboard issue, they will refer you to Blackboard. Or in some instances, you may be talking with Sabrina and she may say to you, this sounds like a Blackboard issue. Here's the number for Blackboard. They provide 24/7 support. Reach out to them. So there are resources both in the university and external to the university that are positioned to be able to support you in either your standard operation of your laptop, your work on the computer, helping you to clarify and get additional support to help you do the work if you need to resolve an issue. Or in the instance of Blackboard, if you're having trouble negotiating Blackboard, and it seems to be an issue with the technology of Blackboard, there's direct resources there that can be of support to you. Again, there are numbers that we can provide you with to be able to reach out. If you don't have the IT number for Post, again, that should be a number that you not only have, but you keep handy so that if you have an issue, you can reach out and get immediate support online or verbally by placing a call there. Library resources, you have access to our library, and the resources in your courses are often provided in your classes by unit week via a link that takes you directly to that area of the library and the work that you're working with. So some courses have an assigned text, and you have access to that at the start of your course, and you always have access to it. Some courses have library resources from Post that you may only be using in 1 or 2 units in the course of the term with that course. And in that instance, you'll see at the very start of your course, the readings and a link. You should be able to click on that link and immediately get to the resource, the article, the item that you're expected to become familiar with that relates to the content for that week. Andrew, you want to talk a little bit about academic integrity, please? Give me a breather.
Of course, more than happy to. So as you move through your courses, and we've touched base on APA 7 formatting, there are some instances where we might be concerned about whether we are going to be looking or accidentally plagiarizing or getting any type of academic violations. And we have a really great resource on campus, Stephanie Dion, who is an academic integrity officer. And she will answer any questions you might have around academic integrity as to, whether you're trying to submit a literature review and you want to make sure that you're submitting this correctly so you don't accidentally plagiarize any work, or you're trying to put some type of reference in a submission to a paper. Stephanie is more than happy to sit down with you or answer any questions you might have around academic integrity and whether something would meet a violation or whether it's fine to use a submission in a certain manner. In addition to that, what we like to do, because we're all new to this, we're all entering graduate school for the first time, and this is a new path for all of us. We like to introduce and educate you all on this concept of academic integrity, and to ensure that everyone's aware of what this is and how we as program chairs, as well as how your instructors can help you make sure that you are in compliance with your submissions, and making sure that you might not fall into any type of violation or warning at any point in the academic program.
Great.
Could I just add something, if you don't mind?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. So earlier, just in the chat, I had recognized that Paula had identified that previously she had gone to school face to face, and that this is a newer environment. And I think that you're not alone there. I think that you're more the norm than the latter. And I recall when I went ahead and pursued my master's degree a little bit later in my life as a second career, moving that direction, I was transitioning in that manner as well. But I want you to know that all of the people that we're talking about here are available for you. And in some ways, when you're in front of a classroom and you're there for just a specific amount of hours or time frame, you're getting the benefit of that instructor right there and the professor right there. But all of the resources here and all of us here at the university, we really are available to you in order to go ahead and to bring this online experience to life for you, because we know that you're going to need support. Your advisor, Sabrina, a good example in our advising office is we have advisors here 7 days a week in varying hours, so you can call in and you don't feel like you are, it doesn't mean we're here 24/7. We're not here 24/7, but if you go ahead and you utilize the advising staff, the library resource staff, they're here on Sundays as well. If you utilize the resources that not only are at your fingertips, but you get the guidance from the other individuals here that can kind of help you to navigate, you're going to find this experience to really come to life and to be one that is much more interactive than probably what you are expecting at the onset. So I want to let you know that not only is Sabrina available to you almost 7 days a week, but in different hours. But our library is open on Sundays, and you can call a reference librarian. I know for me, when I was, in grad school, for me, the reference librarian and I were really great friends because they were very helpful. And you can call our library. You can utilize our Center for Academic Success. But I also, as an instructor in different levels of courses here at Post and other universities, when you're looking at your class, use the resources that are right there in front of you. Read through and use Grammarly and academic writing in the APA resources, and learn how to critically think and navigate through by utilizing everything that's right in front of you. I think you'll find it an extremely fulfilling experience, and you'll learn so much, and you'll find that everyone that is involved in your academics is here to support you.
Trudi, I want to add to that in your,
Thank you.
for the students, in your courses, on the menu to the left, running down the page of your courses, there are some links that open up to provide you with additional information around the topics that we've talked about. So there's a student successes link. There's a link for course information. There's a area where you can get direct information on grading, policies, academic integrity. It's not,
Right.
it's stuff, it's information that you can go to at your leisure, rather than give you a volume of material here. You can go there at your leisure and explore those links and help you better inform yourself about some of the content that we've shared with you this evening.
In addition, if I can add as well, there's another option that you'll see on the left-hand side of your courses called Ask the Instructor. And that's where you can ask your instructor virtually anything around the course, any issues you might have, any questions around an assignment you might have. If even anything in general, you want to schedule a meeting with them, and you're interested in learning more about a particular career path or what course you might be going into next term, any question you might have, the instructor will be able to reply to you in there. And if they can't answer it, we will put you in contact with the person who can answer that for you. In every single course you take within the program, that section will be available to you as well. And our instructors are really good. There's usually less than a 24-hour turnaround in that Ask the Instructor area. And it's a great resource. In all my courses, I check it every single day just to make sure my students don't have any outstanding questions. But again, that's another area you can look into.
I'm going to move us right along because we're overstaying our welcome, Andrew. So we're up to questions. If you have any questions that you want to pose right now, please feel free to do so. And if the questions come to mind afterwards, feel free to use the email information that we gave you at the start of this little meeting to reach out to us or to reach out to Sabrina or any of the people whose emails have been shared with you in the chat box as we've worked our way through here this evening. Any questions?
I have a question. You said that, Andrew, you said that there was links to that we could look at in our leisure. Are you talking about when we get onto our portal, our post portal, and then there's all those topics off to the left-hand side?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Because I've not received anything in hand, so I'm assuming everything is just online.
Yes.
There's no
Correct.
catalog mailed to me or anything. Okay.
You can access the post catalog very easily online also. So I mean,
Yes.
But I think the links that are provided in your course really relate to a lot of the content we've shared with you this evening, so that you can go right into your course and get right to that information if it's something that you feel at a given moment. I need to know a little bit more. They talked about academic integrity. I need to know a little bit more about that. What does that mean? Well, there's a link there that'll take you there and give you some access to videos and things of that nature that really will inform you in a way that you can do it when it's comfortable for you and when you're not feeling like you're under the gun to really wade through a lot of content all at one time.
Okay. So like Paula, I have never done school online. You know, all my undergraduate work was in person. So of course, this is a new experience and a little bit intimidating. So prior to the start of my first class, do I meet with Sabrina, like, you know, chat with Sabrina? Or, I mean, I know the first class I'm registered for, but other than that, I don't know what to do.
It's a great question. So there's varying ways that you could go ahead and to interact with the support services here at Post. So I'll speak from the academic advising position. You can schedule a Teams meeting, which would be very similar to this, where you can interact with Sabrina. She could share screen with you, talk through your degree plans, and you can set up that appointment through the access to your portal. She has office hours that are set that way. You could also just during either if she sent, when you get a welcome email and the welcome call, you can talk at that time, or you can schedule a time with her by responding to her call, her email, or her text and say, here are some good days and times. I'd like to meet with you one-on-one. While Sabrina is open to meeting people on campus, the flexibility and the availability to be able to meet through technology, over the phone, text, phone call, or a meeting just like this, an open forum like this, that is something that not only do we encourage, but the expectation that Sabrina will have with you is that you're going to be open to talking with her, not every week, but at least once every couple of weeks throughout your program, so that she can help you to navigate what what is your GPA like? What is your concentration like? What are your goals? How is your academic experience meeting your academic goals and your career goals, and making sure that we're aligning everything and aligning you to the other resources. And once you build that relationship with her, that starts from the first phone call or email or text. Once you build that relationship, you're going to find that it's going to come naturally how the two of you navigate that process.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sharon, you have your hand up. Did you have a question or is it a legacy
No.
hand?
I'm sorry.
No, not a problem. I just don't want to say goodnight and then realize later on we didn't give you an
I'm
opportunity.
okay. I was just testing out different
Good,
things. I
good.
was wondering why my screen
All
looked
right,
different.
cool.
So I signed in as a guest, so not as a
Uh-huh. Pay attention to
all.
that back row
No,
there.
great. Thank you. Thank you.
I think if there are no further questions, we don't want to hold you up any longer. You can always reach out to either Andrew or myself. We're happy to talk with you when it's convenient.
Okay.
We can do it on the phone or we can do it in a Teams meeting. That's another thing. Sometimes maybe I don't need a Teams meeting. I just need to talk to a voice at the other end. Feel free to be able to use that also.
Thank you.
So
All
I want to
right.
thank
Thank
our
you very much.
I want to thank everybody and particularly Denise and Trudy for your help also this evening. Thank you so much.
It's so nice to meet you all. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck in your
you.
Yep.
program.
It was a pleasure
We're always
meeting
here if
you
you
Best of
need
all.
luck.
us.
It's nice
Thank
meeting you
Bye.
all.
you.
Good night,
All right,
everybody.
bye.
Have a good
Bye.
night.